And me and my dad, Clayton, have been breeding and raising teddies for about 8 years now, so let's talk teddies. So my Teddy Talk topics today are going to be, let's talk coat, feeding time, let's get that hair blowing in the wind, and let's get grooming. So for my first topic, let's talk the teddy coat. We're gonna go a little bit into the point breakdown. So 50% of your points, half of your points are strictly on coat. So when you're breeding and putting a pig on the table, the first thing a judge is going to look at is your coat, and you're judging on coat first before all. 25 points go into type, which is also very important, and then the rest goes a little bit deeper into color and other things. So getting a closer look. So when posing, you want the teddy to look like an American. You want them to have the American type. You want a nice predominant crown, big, and a nice slope down. The only difference is the hair versus a teddy versus American. You want them to look like an American with a teddy coat. So when you put your hands on the coat, you want to first feel the density and the resiliency. So density is the hair count. So the more hair you have, the better, and that makes it feel way dense. And when you want to see density, you can scissor the coat and open it up. And sometimes you can find skin, but with a really harsh and dense coat, rarely will you be able to pull that coat apart to find any skin. As far as resiliency means bounce back. So when you put your hand on the coat, it's how much the hair pushes your hand back and off, where you cannot put your hand to the skin. And that also gets into going into the feelings. So feeding time. Hungry coats. I believe in my personal experience that unlike Americans or other short-coated breeds, you need to feed coats because a teddy puts 50% of their nutrients first into making their coat what its max potential is. So if you're feeding, any sort of feed, you almost need to put, I believe, this is only what works for me, different things work for everybody, but putting extra nutrients and extra protein into your feed will help your coat and your body grow better, because teddies can tend to put all of their energy from the feed into just the coat, and you will get nothing out of their body because they are putting all of that energy to maximize their coat potential. So if you're adding things into your feed that will help that, you can really maximize the potential of not only your coat, but your type and body as well. So, and that also goes into feeding for production. So when you have sows in the teddy breed, they are still feeding their coat until the day they pass. They will always be feeding their coat with the nutrients that you give them. So when a pregnant sow is going to have babies, she's still feeding her coat. So you need to be able to feed the nutrients needed to not only feed her coat, feed her body, and give her enough nutrients to care and take for and grow those babies. So let's get that hair blowing in the wind. At home, ventilation, I believe, is key. I come from the large livestock world where you want a lot of hair on goats and cattle and large livestock, so I have brought that to the teddy world because teddies are a hair and coated animal. Although they are short and not long like the silkies or the texels, and you don't have to groom them as extensively, they still are a haired animal, and I treat them as a coated animal just as such. So ventilation. If you get hair growing through the coat, so I believe in constant moving air. In my cavy area, we have an air conditioner and a heating unit and a constant blowing fan that moves air. Air circulation causes hair circulation. So with that being said, good ventilation is really key to help maximize your coat potential. Temperature, the colder you go, I like to refrigerate my pigs. I keep them about 66, 67. The colder they are, the more hair they grow, because in those colder weather, they're going to grow more coat to keep themselves warm. Humidity. In my caviar, I keep it about 40 to 60% humidity. The more humid it is, the softer the coat gets. The drier the air is, the harsher your coat feel will be. Now, in different states, this is harder to do, but I recommend getting a dehumidifier. This will just help bring your coat together for the best presentation you can put for a judge on the table. And okay, let's get grooming. This is where I'm going to get a little extensive. This is for the best presentation that you can put to maximize your Teddy's potential on the judging table. When a judge sees this animal, they're going to say they are presented beautifully, they are in great coat condition, and they are super uniform. So I have a few methods that I prefer to use. So my first thing that I use a retriever undercoat rake comb. It's a wide tooth comb. So I believe that you need to pull all that undercoat out, all the dead hair, because I don't wash Teddies. I believe that it straightens out the coat. So in order to get them clean and presented, I like to take this under rake comb first. And he's already groomed, so I will grab the one that is not groomed. So this is an ungroomed Teddy versus a pre-groomed Teddy. Can you guys kind of see the difference in how the hair is? How this hair is kind of straight up and not as even, where his hair is pretty uniform and all put together. That's the big difference. I could put this Teddy up and I could take my hand over him and a judge will pull all this dead hair out and it's not very attractive. A judge doesn't want to groom your animals, and that can lose points on condition, because loose hair can seem like not great condition. So if we can get that out, taking this under rake comb, I gently hold the pig's head so that they don't move. They're not in love with this portion, but you can see that this under rake comb takes out a lot of that dead, greasy hair and makes it way more uniform and way brighter. On the more white pigs and brokens, it gets rid of that kind of dingy white look, because you're getting a lot of the grease and grime out of the bottom of the coat and allowing that bright white to come through. Also with this coat, you're also stimulating the hair follicle, allowing for new hair growth, which makes for denser coats. So then after this, I typically at home use a hair dryer. On the coldest setting possible, I take the coldest setting and I get as close to the coat as possible and I blow all of the dirt out of the coat. After that, you can buy these from pet stores. This is like a lamb card or a card comb. And I use this to make all the hair uniform and bring it all together. So I'll bring the sides up and forward and bring all of the back hair forward as well, just in quick, light motions. And see how, I don't know if you guys can see, but if you can see how it's starting to bring that coat together and just make it a more clean and uniform look. This is going to give the judge the best look and the most perfect look of your Teddy, because it's going to give that coat a nice uniform look and feel. I like to brush the hair on the crown down, because if an animal has crown, and these animals that have good type, it will present itself even outside of the coat. They don't need fluff. I don't like a fluff Teddy. I believe in a uniform coat is the best look. It gives a more even look to the coat. And then after I brush with my card, I take a really heavy duty lint roller. These are like the pet and carpet ones. They're super, super sticky, and they pick up all the rest of that dead hair that has sifted to the top. And I just get the rest of those little straggly ends off. And that is how I groom to give the most complete presentation of a Teddy. Because like I said, I believe that Teddies are a coated animal. I believe that grooming does really, really help give the best presentation to the judge to give your animal the best chance on the show table and really gives your coat that best look and feel. Thank you for talking Teddies with me. Are there any questions? Yes. Oh, this, so I ordered mine from Cavy. Oh, this one. This is a retriever under rake comb. You can find it at Tractor Supply. It's just this orange and gray, or any wide tooth comb. Or it's like an undercoat comb for dogs. It's for dogs, and you can find this in the dog section of Tractor Supply. Are there any other questions? Would anybody like to feel, what a groomed Teddy feels like? Will you bring it? Oh yeah, I can. Maybe give me your baby. I'll bring the better water. just so you can kind of